Well, thank you so much for staying with us. And Hope Live today, we are discussing setting career goals and creating a plan. So basically, we are looking at strategies for setting career goals and creating a plan to achieve them. Now, somebody was already asking to say, but then what is a career? Is it all about going to the university and then after that you come back and start working, then saying, this is my career? Well, Dr. Daniel Kabani is here and he is going to help us look into that. We'll begin at asking that question to him so that we get in the lesson. Doc, we are so excited you are here this afternoon. Welcome to Hope Live. Indeed, it's been an awesome week. At first, I never really thought these topics would inspire people, but trust me, the first topic of discussion we had on Monday that was talking about just setting goals and maintaining the enthusiasm to run with the goals the whole year. I received a call yesterday from somebody who said, why haven't you allowed the doc to come not just 3 times a week, but it should have come from Monday to Friday, including Tuesday and Thursday that we skipped? So you realize now that there's that has been happening. But today we are now narrowing down our discussion to career goals, because it is at the start of the year. Even universities and colleges are enrolling at the start of the year. There are exceptional institutions like Rusango University that enrolls on a quarterly basis or semester basis. Other universities, it's once per year. If it has skipped you this start of the year, you have to wait until the following year. But then, because somebody has already asked, what is a career?
Okay, so the discussion around careers is a bit of a complex one. I remember that in my 5th year of university, one of the discussions we had actually was around the issue of professionalization. So the history to careers is that some careers are very old, classical. They are actually called classical careers, like medicine, pharmacy, law, and careers such as pastoral ministry, teaching. Yes, these are called classical careers. They come from way back. But majority of the careers we have now were birthed by the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so when the Industrial Revolution happens, and the Industrial Revolution is an era in which man automates processes by introducing technology from working merely with hands. That's what gave birth to a lot of the careers that we actually have today. So careers in their original form, they are a systematic way of working that addresses a particular industry need. Those are careers or professions.
Where do we place yourselves as entrepreneurs? Should we say that's a career as well?
And yes, now entrepreneurship now is being seen as one of the emerging careers where it is formalized and people can actually look at it and say, you can do this. And you know, until recently, entrepreneurship was looked down upon. I don't know where you grew up from, but where I grew up from, a businessman was thought as somebody who has failed at school, so he has nothing to do other than
but that
business.
was the reality.
Yes.
That was the reality.
I think so.
The reality was that one who has failed in school, the next thing is they own a shop, sit in a shop and start selling, because they can't do anything.
That's true.
For ladies, even marriage became a career. Because they say, there is no need to panic. You have failed here. Don't worry, you are a woman, you get married. I actually heard that. I was on a bus. It should be on a Tuesday. And then we reach at a filling station. And this fuel attendant, a girl, very young girl, says, all the passengers should be out of the bus. Okay? And then others were refusing to come out because she can't pump fuel if the passengers are still on the bus. It's a rule.
Yes.
Then others were refusing. She said, I'm not going to do anything because I don't want to lose my job.
Yes.
Now, this gentleman says, you are a girl. Why are you worried about losing your job? If you lost your job today, you get married. So it was perceived as a career back then. But then, now that people like yourselves, you've gone to school, you've gone to college, you've had a specialization, and majority of the people that are doing entrepreneurship today are people that have left their formal employment and they've come to start doing this business. That's and true. You are making it so attractive that now we know that it's a career.
That's very true.
Yeah, but let's talk about setting career goals and creating a plan on how to achieve these career goals. It doesn't matter whether it requires you to go to school or it requires you to just have capital and invest into this your professional business and all that. As we just get started, maybe we give an introductory background to what we are discussing today. Share with us, the viewers here, a bit about your own career journey and how you've set and achieved goals in the past. Now, by this, I'm starting from your passion as pharmacy to what you are doing now.
Yes, so my career has been a very interesting one. I should mention that my personality is I'm a sanguine, and if you look at sanguines, they're easily bored by monotony. Yeah. So I had to do the same thing over and over, and that has influenced how I do my careers. So I came to the University of Zambia and did my bachelor's degree in the School of Medicine and specialized in pharmacy. So I did my bachelor's of pharmacy at the University of Zambia School of Medicine. And then I practiced at the University Teaching Hospital. So I practiced there for a year, and then I quit and joined academia and went for my master's, which was a Master of Science in Human Anatomy. So I went for my master's, and then I started lecturing. So I taught at Evelyn Horn, I taught at Davcourt College, I taught at Apex Medical University, and part-time also taught at the University of Zambia School of Medicine. But at the same time, I was also practicing as a pharmacist, even when I was doing this. So somewhere along the way, I got interested. I've always been interested in business because even at a very young age, I've had a dream of establishing institutions. My passion being health and being publishing. So at a very young age, I had interest in media, interest in publishing, and interest in health, which is what I've set my businesses around now. So as I was working as a lecturer in these institutions, I started my business on the side as a side hustle of what young people call. And that started growing until 2017, when I then now ended up quitting and going into full-time business. And I started getting interested in business, studying business, and pursuing things in line with business. Last year, acquired my doctorate. And yes, and the rest is history. So that has been my career progression.
You're quite inspiring, and the movement is well traced. But there's somebody who probably is watching now, and they're saying, it looks easier because you, University of Zambia, after that you are into that. I remember last time you even shared that majority of the time, when people thought you were working, you were just volunteering and all that, but it paid off. And then we have a number of us, you found me talking about it, who, well, I am seated here, and if you ask me, you say, this is accidental. The word serendipity. It just came.
It just came.
I didn't plan for it, but circumstances. Some people would say it's money, and some people would say, do you think for such people who just find themselves pursuing certain professions would qualify to really now own it and then live with a plan that will sustain this kind of career, or maybe it should be considered as a pathway to what really they wanted to become?
Here's what I've observed about professional development. You will only succeed into the 2% which make the top of any career if you are passionate about that career. Now that's the premise that I want everybody to understand. You will only succeed and belong to the 2% of any career if you are passionate about that career. However, there is a disclaimer to that. We do not begin with what we are passionate about. We begin with what is available.
Yeah.
Because what you are passionate about, oftentimes in the beginning, cannot provide for your survival. So I'll give you very practical examples. In my book, Be Exceptional, I write about a young man there called Chisenga. He's alive and well. He's here at the University Teaching Hospital where he's a doctor, and currently he's a registrar studying for his master's in infectious diseases. When I met Abraham Chisenga, he was a male nurse. And everybody saw a male nurse. Yeah. But what was his vision? To become a medical doctor specialized in infectious diseases. But his beginning, because you see, life ushers us, oftentimes we begin, those that have done behavioral economics, they talk about phases, economic phases of life. And they'll tell you that we all begin in a phase that is called a dependence phase. We begin at a phase where you are unemployed, you have no business, you have no money, you do not earn an income. A person who does not earn has limited options.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot go around saying, I want to study this, me, I'm passionate about that, because you are not the one paying. So your uncle who is paying can send you to go and do primary school teaching, and yet you want to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Your uncle who is paying can send you to go and do accounts, because for him he thinks that will work well for you, and yet you want to be a nurse. So we begin with whatsoever. And that's why I often say that the Bible says, whatsoever your hands finds to do. It does not specify that what you are passionate about. So we begin with whatsoever is available. Then whatsoever is available will usher us into our passion. Today, majority of what I do now is out of passion.
Oh, yeah.
But what allows me, I did not have the liberty to practice my passions when I just began. Let me give an example. Public speaking for me is a passion. But you imagine if when I graduated in grade 12, I said, I want to be a public speaker. Who can listen to a grade 12 of a public speaker? Right now, I'll be speaking to Rusangu University in a few weeks' time. Invited, and this is my third or fourth time of being invited by Rusangu University. I speak to all these universities, the University of Zambia and top-notch institutions in and out of this country. You know why they invite me? There are things I have accrued over time in terms of qualifications and experience that have added value to me that makes these people to seek that value. But at grade 12, if I just want to begin with my passion, they would invite me for what? And this is what young people need to know, because I've met a lot of young people that are stuck and not moving in life because they want a chance at their passion. And some of them that are struggling so hard because they want to begin with their passion. Begin with what is expedient, then get into what you are passionate.
Okay. Let's talk about setting goals, really. And now that you have established here that it really doesn't have to be what you are passionate about. It really doesn't be. Most of the times when I am emceeing at some weddings, we like asking the kids, what do you want to become when you grow, when you finish school? And then this kid will say, I want to become this, I want to become that. And over time, that is gone, because really it's something that they just thought about it. But should we plan? Should we set goals for our careers?
Yes. My pastor will tell you that I wrote my career path more vividly and more clearly in second year, and I wrote a 20 years career path of what I would want to study, when I would want to study it, to become what I would want to end up with. By the way, my career path is not even done. January, I'm in school as we are speaking.
Wow.
Okay? And there are still things I want to study and learn.
One wonders, what do you want to learn? Because you are living your life.
You know, my pastor, there's a lot we can become by the potential that God has given us. So planning is critical. In careers, I would advise every person to have what is called a professional development plan. Every individual must have a professional development plan. That professional development plan, how do you create it? Define the life you'd want to have. Begin with the end in mind. So define the kind of life you'd want to have and say, where would you want to stay? And that should not be shorter than 20 years if you're still a young person. Okay? If you're still in your 20s or you are a teen, it should not be less than 20 years plan. So state and say, 20 years from now, where do I want to stay? What does my income look like? What does my family look like? What does my influence look like? When you have defined this, then ask yourself, what things do I need to do in 10 years' time, in 5 years' time, and now that will ensure that 20 years later from now, I have this kind of life. I tell you that there are so many people that are wandering around aimlessly and hoping that one of these days they'll just wake up into greatness and in a comfortable life. And that does not happen. So set a very clear plan. And what does a plan entail? Because there are people who think when you have just listed things, you have made a plan. That's not a plan. It's a list. Like I want to do my master's a plan is informed. It has information. So if you say that, okay, for me to become a permanent, for example, I meet young people who say, what do you, no, I want, one of these days I want to be the permanent secretary of Ministry of Health. Everything they are doing today does not look like it is predicting to that. So you ask yourself, if you'd have to be a PS for Ministry of Health, it means at minimum you must hold a master's degree or better in a health-related field. That tells you in your plan, a master's must appear somewhere. In what program? A health program. So you begin researching around that and say, which health program would be good for me? Is it public health? Is it epidemiology? Is it surgery? Is it pharmacotherapy? You go through that and you choose one. Then you say, what of my degree path? What degree would usher me to there? I can't be PS if I am studying linguistics. I can't be PS in health if I can. So you define that. You define where you will study them. Then begin asking yourself, a degree has requirements. Do I currently have the requirements for that degree? If you don't have the requirements, your first plan is not the degree. It is to work to acquire the requirements that usher you in a degree. That's why for me it is often paradoxical to meet a young person who says, one of these days I want to be a director in Ministry of Energy. But this young person, at a point they are stating so they have a 9 in physics, a 9 in chemistry, and a 7 in, even in vernacular they have a 6. And you ask them, what are you doing about this? Nothing. Hope will not deliver you into the position of your career that you want. It is qualifications and competence. So for a wise young person who has also failed, because there are young people that are wise who could have failed out of circumstances. What do? They say, my plan is 20 years to be a director, but this year my professional development plan begins with writing. So this year I'll register for GCE, I'll go for tuitions, I'll rewrite 2 subjects. 3 years down the line, they have a full certificate. The next thing you hear, they are at NIPA, they are at UNZA. They are progressing in their plan.
Society really brings us down. One fails to plan, for example, the issues of rewriting. Because if I'm hearing you correctly, my career path should already begin to shape even while I'm still in high school.
Yes.
And majority would fail, circumstances leading to that. And then because there are people who consider somebody that is sitting for GCE as one who, well, does not even deserve recognition. They're nothing. But then if it is your passion, then you plan and move in that direction. And you set your goals. By this, by that, I'm going to do that. But let's speak to what makes us fail to really plan, really set goals for our career path. What are the common mistakes that we make, and how can we avoid them?
You know, one of the reasons that I think makes many young people to fail to plan is, firstly, number one, let me begin maybe with our parents. We have a lot of what psychologists call infantilization here in Zambia. Infantilization is a concept of treating a person in a way that is for an age younger than the age they are. And I see it happening everywhere. I see parents that sit in a home with a kid that has failed grade 12. Can you imagine? I come, and my pastor, these things boil in me.
No.
Here are parents who, they hear that results for grade 12 are out. First day their son is not going to collect his results. And they sit there. Maybe these days the good news is that they can come on your phone.
Yeah.
But those days, parents are seated and they're not, they ask casually, so your results, are we going to see them? Then these guys, I'll go and collect them. 1 month down the line, he has not collected. When he brings them, then you realize why he was hesitating. It's 9898. The parents sit there with this guy. The parents don't speak to a plan. The kids don't speak to a plan. I'll tell you, parents must assist their children achieve their life plans. The Bible says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction will drive it far away from him. By nature, our default setting as children is foolishness. It is playing around. It is forgetting about your future until you arrive in it unprepared. I'll give you an example of what mom and dad did. Mom and dad told us that, my kids, if any one of you will get results that do not usher you into the University of Zambia, you are repeating your grade 12. And you are not going to GCE, where you'll be putting on a nice suit, you look like you are going somewhere, and yet you are going. No. They said, we'll buy you a uniform back to GCE. The good news is that me, your father, I'm the headmaster of of APU. And your mother is the deputy head, so there is always a place for you. That in itself told us that they were very serious. Yeah. And that's how it happened. The cousins and nephews, whoever we stayed with, anyone who failed, your results, you receive your results today. In the morning, in the afternoon, dad is taking you to the market to buy a uniform. On Monday, you are reporting. And when I saw that happen to some of the people that were ahead of me, it told me one thing: I can't play.
No.
I had to work hard and get the best of results. But I've seen parents that are casual in their approach of the future of their children. Parents whose information about the academic performance of their kids is superficial and pedestrian. Where you just know that, okay, he goes to school. No, he goes to whichever school. So parents sometimes, because here's the thing. When you look at what we call neurosciences that look at brain development, the center of decision making in a person is your front part of your brain, which is called the frontal lobe. Yes. This front part of your brain. Now here's the thing. Your frontal lobe is not fully mature until you reach 25. What does that mean? It means any person who is below the age of 25 cannot conceptualize the concept of cause and effect. What that means is that a teenager does not see the consequences of drinking. A teenager does not see the consequences of dodging school. A teenager does not see the consequences of sleeping around. They may seem like they comprehend it, but they don't. And it is not their choice. The frontal lobe is not fully developed. What does that mean? There must be an adult person who helps the teenager and any person below 25 to make the right decisions. Why? The decisions about our career, most of them are affected by our life below 25.
I just want you to probably give a recommendation on how people can identify their strengths, their passions, and their values, which eventually can inform their career goals.
Yes. And by the way, that is a very great question. I've written a full chapter on that in that book, A Guide to Personal Development. By the way, that
didn't carry my copy.
I'll bring your copy, Pastor.
Okay.
In that book, I've addressed these issues in depth.
Sure.
Okay? And here's the thing. If you are going to succeed in a career, there are certain things you must know about yourself. Number one, your temperament. So very quickly along that, I know my pastor, you would know, we have 4 major types of temperament. Those are subclasses now, but the classical one is you are sanguine, you are choleric, you are phlegmatic, or you are a melancholy.
Yes.
There are careers that are not good for sanguines. Because the temperament of a sanguine has its strength, it has its weaknesses.
Indeed.
For example, if you got me and put me in a bank, seated on a till, where I collect money, count the money, enter the money, next I collect money, you fire me. Because I'll fall sick. And I'll not thrive. Yeah. As a sanguine, put me in sales and marketing, where every day I'm meeting a new challenge. And that is where some people enjoy their professions. It's because their professions align with their temperament. If you get a sanguine and put him in sales and marketing, this guy is effective because every day he looks forward to talking to people. That's where his joy and fulfillment comes from. But anywhere else, he may fail. Yeah. If you talk about careers such as surgery as an example, you want people that are meticulous in how they do things. A phlegmatic is good for surgery, who would spend time in a theater there seated and working on somebody with less talking and all that. That is very good for a guy that is a phlegmatic. What I would encourage is this, even our schools and everybody else, or yourself as an individual, get to know yourself. There are people whose temperament is totally this side, their profession is heading in this way. Away from that, also...
Maybe that's the accidental one I was talking about.
The accidental one, eh? Yes, and we might find yourself in that for the beginning. Yeah. For the beginning, you can even begin with a career that does not align with your temperament. But don't die wishing and admiring. And that's why I'm happy with you, Pastor, because I think even you becoming a pastor is secondary. That's not where you started from. No. But maybe that's where your passion is, right? So you have evolved. And you see, I see you, this is your area. Literally, you are putting in the work, but even without, you are naturally made for this. But you had to begin from somewhere. Maybe because the circumstances at the point could not do what? Allow. But let's educate our youths and ourselves as individuals. This message is not just for youths. Yeah. There are some of you who are watching right now. You are 45 years and you have not yet started living, because all from now up to 45, you have been living other people's dreams. Or you have been living circumstances' dreams. There comes a time that a man must go above his circumstances and say, yes, circumstances determined up to this, but now I'm taking charge and making the choices myself.
So you literally pick yourself and move to where you want to be. So it requires, number one, I think, self-motivation.
Yes.
But only when you know what you're supposed to do. But there are moments, or there are people, really, I hate saying this, who... for them, it's anything that comes, it goes.
It's a sad way of living. It's a very sad way of living. And you would not have lived your life. You see, friends, let me mention something that one writer says, this life, unfortunately, no matter how careful you live it, it all ends in one destination, which is death. Death, indeed. So there are some people who are too careful for nothing. And there are some people who are not risking. And I'm not talking about where you become reckless to take upon destructive risk. I'm talking about positive risk. Be able to take positive risk so that you can live to your full potential. Nelson Mandela says this, that one of the greatest tragedies of life, I'm paraphrasing, is to arrive in old age and realize you have lived a life that is less than the one you could have lived. And I'll tell you that there are people who are going to arrive in their 70s and realize they have operated at 30% potential. Why? Career development also requires courage and boldness. Boldness to take decisions and risk. There are people who are not developing in their career because they are waiting for everything to fall in place. In my book, Be Irresistible, I talk about the Tom and Jerry formula, where I say sometimes everything will not be in place. But by faith, start off. And as you start off, certain things will begin to fall in place. Any person that has gotten to the top, they'll tell you where they had to play cat and mouse. Maybe cat and mouse with the institution because you didn't have the money. You pay a little bit, you go, they write you those letters of warning, you have not paid, you not write your exams, you go and hustle a bit, you come, you write, they give you, you go and plead with the vice chancellor, you write, they withhold your results, everybody else has registered, you are late in your registration, but you continue pushing. The last letter they will write you is to tell you that you are graduating on the 13th. But that requires boldness, career development. Even those that want to go for a master's or a degree, if you are waiting for a time that there will be a 16,000 seated in your account where you are saying, this money is for my master's,
Yes, sir.
we will find you with the same qualification. So it is a combination of boldness, taking chances, and being around the right people that will continue to push you until you find yourself where you need to be.
And I'm loving the fact that you have factored in also the issue of being around people, but that also speaks to not just any other people, but the right people, because there are certain people that when you are around them,
You can't.
I said at the next that the few moments that we spend with the speakers, you are not their dog. The few moments that I spent with the speakers
Yes.
in the background,
In the background.
before the program began, there were things that were coming out. You know, there was no pastor there.
Oh, yeah.
But what they spoke were even speaking to somebody that is nowhere near what those people are. Pastors were included. To a point where I'm beginning to pick, for example, the book of Genesis, and I am saying, what Melusi was saying is actually here, and I'm seeing it. So I become well informed. So it means you have to be around people that
Yes.
are adding value to your life. But let's move towards the end of the program and give a bit of advice or tips. What is one actionable step that our viewers today will have to take to start setting achievable goals for their careers?
For their career. The first one is find a mentor.
Right.
Find a mentor. You see, I'll tell you that as you are progressing in any career, there is a concept out there in the world that they talk about what they call gatekeepers. Actually, every career at a certain level of actualization has what they call gatekeepers. The people that determine whether you can be admitted to that circle or not, by the competences you have, by the qualifications you have, and all that. But you see, careers are like a wilderness. You get in there, if you don't have a map where you are supposed to travel for 40 days, you are going to do 40 years. So you want to progress very quickly, find a mentor. The mentors will tell you there are certain things that are required in every career to progress faster. And sometimes people major in a career, you are in there, but you are doing the irrelevance. That will keep you longer at that same position. But if you have a mentor will even tell you, this master's in this career is useless. This master's in this career will make you to grow fast. With what you have studied now, these are the options. You must get to know this. You must affiliate for this program. There are scholarships in this. The earlier you find a mentor, the earlier you are on your way to the top. In Zambia, in particular, we have one problem. And it is a problem of competing with people you are not at the same level with. It is a problem of hating on people that should inspire you. Any person that has done this knows this. My pastor, you would know. People like me, on one side we receive a lot of good support from people. On the other side we receive people that oppose us, that question what we are saying. Here is a person who doesn't even have a certificate, and you'll be arguing with me. And I'm wondering, this person is arguing from what authority? Instead of learning, they are arguing. Instead of being inspired, they are hating. That's the problem we have this side of the world. I'll encourage you, and I'll encourage everybody watching here. I'll tell you that even where I am by God's grace, I still have mentors, people I look up to. Just yesterday, I was seated with one of my mentors in business, learning about business. And yet, I have been in business now for 11 years plus. Because there is no end to learning. So the first thing is that you find a mentor. The second thing, find friends that are progress and career development oriented. Yes. When you enter any career, you find three people. You find people that are in the action. You find people that are spectating, just watching. And you find the critics. These last two groups are dangerous. In every career, you find frustrated critics that will just tell you how things don't work in that system. When you join, they say, hey, oh, you are working hard, eh? Anyway, that's how we also started. But you join us. People in this company, they don't appreciate. You soon see. And they'll bring the negative energy, the pessimism, until your energy is beaten out of you. These are critics. Stay away from them. There is no critic that has ended at the top. Then stay away from the spectators who are just okay with average. They are there just to watch the action. Immediately you join a career as a teacher at a school, as a nurse at a clinic, as a security officer in a company on security, whichever career is, find the guys in there who are hungry for progress, who are burning with the fire to get to the next level. These are the guys who together you will strategize and begin to push each other with to the top.
Right, time really is squeezing us, but maybe as we conclude, your final advice or words of encouragement to our viewers who are looking to set and achieve their career goals.
It will be Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29. Have you seen a man diligent in his work?
Oh, yeah.
Such a man will stand before kings and not before common men. Have you seen a man excellent in his work? Such a man will stand before kings and not before common men. I will encourage you to develop a culture of excellence. And what is this culture? It is a culture that is continuously improving. You must always ensure you are a best version of yourself today than you were yesterday. It is a culture that is always improving on its systems, but more so improving on itself. So continuously improve. Number 2, excellence is continuously learning.
Yes.
There is always new knowledge that is coming. Right now we are talking of AI, we're talking of the internet of all things, we're talking of digital marketing. These are the things. Don't be content with knowledge of yesterday, because the educated of yesterday are the illiterates of today when they stop learning.
You will continue on that thought, but let me share something. There's this guy that our small establishment had employed. Very versatile guy.
Yes.
Okay? But each time you bring out something, then he'll say, if that was somebody. Then I would laugh and say, is it our fault that was somebody? Yeah, because I am thinking, what I am giving you is information that you should take advantage of
And
use
learn now.
it. So it's not about what you haven't done in the past. It's
What
the
you are
past.
doing now.
What are you doing now? And majority of us have ended up becoming stagnant.
Because we are living in the
Yeah,
past.
we are doing the 10 days of prayer, and many of the prayer requests that are coming is that there's nothing moving in
My
my
life is
stuck.
My pastor, James Allen, in his book As a Man Thinkers, says, we do not move without until we move within. In other words, until there is a change on the inside, there can't be change on the outside.
Absolutely.
The outside always resonates with the inside.
Indeed.
If right now money is an issue in your life, it is not a reflection of the economy, it is a reflection of you. My pastor, any person broke right now, it is not a reflection of the economy, it is a reflection of themselves. Because even in the economy you want to accuse, our financial status and economic status varies. Why does it vary? So many people are waiting for magic and miracles to happen outside them, and yet they are the same. By the way, you do not move in life to the next level until you move inside to the next level. And by the way, the physical reality is always coming behind the mental reality. So there must be a traveling in the mind to the next level before the body can join the next level. You must move from your compound to a better place mentally before the body can shift. When we shift the body before we shift the mind, the body will return to where the mind
That's
is.
fair.
Because you do not have the competences of that level. So any person who is giving prayer requests of I'm stuck in life, I'll tell you why you are stuck. Number one, you are stuck because you are having information that is not for the next level. right now, decide to begin acquiring information beyond the information you currently have consistently up to June, and let's see whether you're stuck by June. I meet young people who say they are stuck, they don't have a job. I'll ask you a question as a young person. Do you know how to write a cover letter? This person does not know. That's why you are stuck. Do you
Maybe
know?
knowing how to write is too much. Do you know what it is?
Do you know what it is? Do you know how to write a CV? A proper CV, not that one which looks like a funeral program. Say born, died, children. Do you know how to write a proper CV that is responsive to the job advert? Because you know what? A CV is a living document. You don't have a CV you wrote in 2013 and you are using it for jobs in 2024. Or a CV you wrote in 2023. And by the way, even right now, if there is a job advert in Ministry of Health and a job advert in Ministry of Mines, and they are both looking for a PR person, the CV you should take to Ministry of Health should differ with the CV you are taking to Ministry of Energy. And yet you are applying for PR. A CV is a living document. Right now, what does your CV look like? So you are stuck not because people are bewitching you in the village or the Lord is against you. It is because there are certain things that are lacking. And that's why we're saying, be in an aggressive, continuous learning and continuous development mode. And once your mind has moved, your body moves.
Doc, thank you so much. I always wish we could talk and keep talking. But, well, time also is what limits us, but we appreciate the knowledge shared on this platform from Monday, Wednesday, and today, Friday. I know we'll always knock as we progress on this program and many other platforms, but we are so grateful that we are starting this year with you, giving us some matching orders, which I pray are helping the viewers. If there is no one that is being helped by what we have discussed on this platform, I am the first beneficiary of this information. And trust me, we'll call you at the start of 2026 and we can do an evaluation to say, from what we were teaching, what exactly have you really achieved? Have you made progress and all that? Because here you are telling us you don't need to remain the same.
No.
There should always be something that you are doing about it. And when you do something, results will show.
That's true, my pastor.
Doc, thank you, Louis Tumezi, and regards to the DNK group as you continue pushing for the many. And we are watching from the terraces, but we appreciate the fact that you have brought on board a team of young and inspired people that are doing great things. I will tell you this now, that I'm one person who has the privilege to call you directly on your line. But most of the time when I go through your people, I see the quality of work they are attaching to what they are doing. And you feel like calling every day because just on the phone, they are already sounding professional, and I think there's something that we are learning from that. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the very best for the rest of the year.
Well, Pastor, I'm very, very humbled by this invitation. And my pastor, you're doing a very great work. I see the impact you are generating in your sphere and just what you are doing with Hope Channel here. I pray that in 2025 and beyond, God will even open more doors for you. May God bless you and thank you. And 12th of August, we are having our National Education Expo. Like I said, you are already our program coordinator as last year. So I'm looking forward to this year and what we'll be doing together again.
Indeed, thank you so much. We end here. The program is back on Monday. I'm very excited because on Monday, we will be sitting down with the District Commissioner of Lusaka, Mrs. Rosa Zulu. A lot of information that we'll share on that one from the Christian point of view as well as from the civic point of view. Make sure to join us. Until then, from all of us, it's God bless and keep watching.